Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! This happened to a friend of mine years ago, and me as well, but he did the revenge. I lived in a small village by the sea. Most people had a small boat with an outboard motor. People were not poor, but far from rich. Someone began stealing gas from the boats on multiple occasions. Lots of people got livid. They lost their gas, of course, but even worse was that several ran out of gas far from shore. Potentially very dangerous. A friend of mine went to the local police and got to talk to the chief of police and got the following advice. Fill a can with gas, mix it with sugar, and put the can in your boat. My friend got a bit concerned and asked if this was illegal and could get him in trouble. It is not illegal to mix sugar and gas. It is your gas. If someone steals it, it is no problem of yours. If the thief files a complaint, you can rest assured that I will follow it up regarding all the thefts. And so he did. A nice brand new can filled to the brim with gas and lots of sugar. And the can was gone the day after. Fast forward a week, the local engine repair shop got a pretty new 120 horsepower engine in for repair. He said it was a small village, so after checking up on the engine it was easy for the mechanic to put two and two together. The mechanic told the customer that the engine was beyond repair. A lie, I guess, and that the customer should contact the police because this was sabotage. The police got no complaint, and of course the story went viral in the small community, and the thief was until then a well-respected person, and the moving van showed up a few months later. So you can get a bit of an idea where we were. There is a bit of homeless people near where my grandpa lives. Some of them are drunk or on drugs almost all of the time, and some of them have plain no sense. This was back in the good old days too. Anyway, so we're starting off with the day my grandpa hears things being screwed around with in his own backyard. He asks himself, what the hell is that? So he grabs his gun and steps out. A homeless guy, probably high, is trying to get through his property. The hell are you doing? My grandpa asks, and the guy responds with, oh, I'm just passing through. Now my grandpa isn't having any of that. I don't know why the guy wasn't scared off by the fact that my grandpa had a gun in his hand. But then again, that's this guy's probably high logic. Good old grandpa tells him, no you're not, get off my property. This guy ain't taking any of this. So he refuses again. Grandpa cocks his gun and aims for the ground in front of him. Albeit I heard aimed for his privates from this. He asks him one more time, get off my property or I will shoot. And this guy refused again. And so, my grandpa shot at the gravel in front of him. Not nearly as badass as I remember it. I don't know exactly what happened after that, but the cops were called. My grandpa got to keep the gun despite nearly shooting the guy, because he's an old man with pretty much no other means of defending himself from high people. This has ended up being longer than I thought it would, so bear with me. So this happened many years ago, around 2005, and I was only 10 or 11. So this is going off some fuzzy memories and secondhand information. My family owned a pair of French lap rapids. Brothers called Shadow and Tiger. My older sister and I adored them till the day they died. My year 5 class had show and tell every Friday morning, and I got permission from my mom in my primary school elementary for you non-UK peeps to take the bunnies in one day. My mom had walked me to school carrying the bunnies in their travel carrier. As we entered the playground, she handed me the carrier and told me to get my teacher to let me into the classroom early and place them behind her desk. We said our goodbyes, she gave me a kiss and the usual stuff, and she told me she'd be back in an hour to pick up the bunnies after show and tell was over. She began walking home, and there was no reason to think anything would go wrong. It was still a good 5/10 minutes until we were allowed in, and I couldn't see my teacher through the windows, and I didn't think to knock, so I just set the carrier down and stood beside it, just waiting. Inevitably, my bunnies caught the attention of many children on the playground, and soon a small crowd was cooing over the bunnies. This one kid, the entitled kid of course, from a couple of year groups below me, comes up to me and asks me to let them out. Obviously, I said no. They are surrounded by unfamiliar people and they will be scared and try to run away. And catching them will be very difficult then. Not to mention that I don't know this kid at all. Year groups didn't mix much at my school and I didn't think he'd be there very long. Anyway, the entitled kid doesn't like my answer and tries to let them out himself, but he doesn't know how to open the carrier. I didn't really say anything to him about this, but I did put my foot in front of the door. He gave up and ran off. I thought that was the end of it, but it was just a beginning. A few moments later, he comes back with his entitled mother in tow. He points at me, and I feel her gaze full upon me. She turns to the entitled kid, smiles and nods, and says something to him. He yells, "Yay!" and runs off again, I think to his friends. I don't know if it was just my Asperger's or just me being naive, but I thought he simply showed his mom the rabbits and asked her if they could get their own one day, and that she had said yes. I thought that up right until she walked up to the carrier, picked it up and walked away with it. I just stood there for a moment, stunned and unsure of what to do, before I ran after her. When I caught up with her, the following exchange, if you could call it that, went something like that. "Excuse me, miss, can I have my bunnies back, please?" She ignores me. "Miss, those are my bunnies. May I please have them back?" She continues to ignore me. Seeing that the conversation is going nowhere, I grab the pet carrier and stand fast. "Give back my bunnies. I need to take them to show and tell." The entitled mother stops, looks down at me, and then rips the carrier out of my grasp. With enough force that I cry out in pain. But I also heard the squeal from the carrier itself. She hurt my bunnies. But what she does next sticks with me to this day. She turns around, grabs my shirt front with her free hand, gets right in my face, and with a scowl, voice, and expression combo that could curdle fresh milk, she says to me, "They are not yours anymore." And she shoves me back, falling flat on my butt. I wasn't hurt, but I was shocked, scared, and the enormity of the situation got to me. I started crying, like probably bawling. I thought I had done something wrong and that I was never going to see Shadow and Tiger again. Everything is a bit of a blur to me from this point, but I remember another parent came up to me and asked what was wrong. I pointed at the entitled mother wailing, "She's taken my bunnies away." I was rescued, fortunately, by my mom. She hadn't actually gone home yet. She told me what happened from her perspective, though not what was said. See, she had run into the parents of one of my friends, the friend's mom and friend's dad, and struck up a conversation. The first thing she knows that something is wrong is when the friend's mom gasps. She looks over, sees the entitled mother holding our carrier, pushing me to the floor. And instantly she enters angry, protective mama bear mode and runs right up to the entitled mother, my friend's parents in tow. The entitled mother tries to run, but a teacher who saw everything stopped her in her tracks. My mom screams at her, demanding to know what she's doing, stealing my bunnies and attacking me. And the entitled mother tries to claim that I was trying to take her rabbits, to which my friend's mom calls lies and asks why she brought her rabbits to the school. The entitled mother goes full screaming banshee, spoons stuff like, "My son wants these rabbits, and that boy didn't care about them, and he wouldn't let them stretch their legs." She started swinging the carrier around violently, screaming that if her son couldn't have them, no one could, trying to smash the carrier against the pillar. Before that happened, Mom and my friend's mom grabbed the carrier and pulled it out of her grip. My friend's father, a Judo instructor, manages to pin the entitled mother, who's still kicking and screaming and spitting. The teacher runs to the office to call the police whilst the entitled mother continues trying to justify her actions. Police obviously want proof of who owns the bunnies, so it was a good thing that among the things I brought with the bunnies were several pictures of the bunnies, including one with me in it. The entitled mother realizes she's messed up big time and starts crying herself. Mom said that it was the most pathetic thing she'd ever seen. The aftermath. The entitled mother was put in cuffs and taken to the station. Mom takes rabbits to the vet immediately, and I stay at school with teachers who calm me down. The entitled mother was an addict, a known violent addict. She was high off meth or something at the time and had cocaine in her purse. But the real kicker is that she already had rabbits at home. Rabbits she wasn't allowed to have, since she had a track record of animal abuse and neglect. Rabbits that were dying because of yet more neglect. The entitled mother ended up spending a few years in prison for this. My mom doesn't know much beyond this. The entitled kid stopped showing up one day, don't know what happened to him, don't care, probably went to live with other family members. I was shaken but fine, she didn't injure me, just caused pain. I ended the day much happier, especially when I learned Shadow and Tiger were just a bit bruised, also fine. They didn't seem traumatized at all, they continued to live their little lives like nothing had happened. They died in June 2009, and I miss them a lot. There's one memory of them that I would rather forget. I hope you can see why. And that's where this enormous tale ends. I needed to make an excursion outside to feed the kitty her treats of choice, as I had run out from spoiling her rotten like she demands. I'll bow before the cat queen in my home. So I get my stuff on and get ready to leave and walk to the grocery store to pick up her tastiest and some more cat food. To paint the picture of what I look like today, I'm in a grey hoodie and a toque, beanie to you Americans, a grey Guinness tank top and navy blue pajama pants, black dog shoes, and an Attack on Titan man purse. I in no way look like an employee of anywhere. I'm in what I like to call bum culture. I also have headphones and I'm listening to some music. I get to the store jamming out to some Slipknot and proceed to go about my business. I grab a basket and beeline to the pet aisle. I pass the registers and I'm instantly accosted by this neon green-haired woman in her late 40s, wearing a shawl and looking like she belongs in a craft show. She instantly starts in on me, looking everywhere else but at me. Listen here, little man, I'm looking for dish soup, and I have no clue where you people hide that stuff. Show me where it is now. I pull out one headphone and say, "Pardon?" And Karen groaned angrily. Do you morons even listen? Where is the dish soup? But she's snapping her fingers in my face at every word. I'm instantly pissed off at the snapping. I know where it is, but with your attitude, I'm not exactly inclined to help you. Karen, puffing up in indignation, listen here. But I cut her off and yell back in her face. No, you listen here. These people do not get paid enough to deal with your nonsense, and I don't work here, so I'm definitely not getting paid enough to take your nasty tantrum. How about you open your eyes and look at me? What about my appearance says I work here? What about my clothing could possibly indicate that I'm employed here, huh? Karen was taken aback that someone dared to talk back. Well, I never. A helpful employee appears, moving over from customer service. What's going on here? Karen, before anyone could get a word in, this jerk has been rude to me and dared to talk back to me. I demand he be written up and fired this instant. I tell him, page a manager please. Clueless here thinks I work here, and also requires glasses. He pulls to grab the manager and we stand there. I just fold my arms and wait while Karen hisses vitriol at me about how I'm going to be mega fired or whatever. I stopped paying attention and went back to listening to plead it out. The store manager and the helpful employee appear minutes later, just as trivium sin and the sentence starts. So what's going on here? He sort of filled me in, but Karen, before the store manager can finish his sentence, and right back to screaming, this little jerk refused to show me where the dish soup was and was rude and insulting to me. I demand you fire him and compensate me for my trouble. I tell him she's clueless and thinks I work here somehow. I just want cat food and treats. Ma'am, he is plainly a customer. Look at him. PJs aren't part of the uniform here. Karen actually looks at me and really takes in my appearance for the first time, saying that I'm literally here, dressed like a lazy couch potato. And lets out a weak, "Oh." Evidently, she's a common problem at this store because the store manager surprises me with his next remark. The store manager coldly and obviously very annoyed tells her, "Ma'am, this is the third time this week you have abused staff and customers. Leave now, and if we see you here again, you will be trespassed. You are banned from this location indefinitely. Now please leave." Karen, enraged, threw her basket to the floor and rages out screaming about lawyers. The store manager apologizes to me for what happened, and I just brush it off. I told him not to worry about it as it's dealt with. He goes back to customer service and tells me to check out with her when I get what I need. Gave me a 25% discount on my kitty tasties and kitty food. So all in all, not bad. All it took was dealing with an idiot for 7 minutes, paid, dipped and went home. Now I'm sitting here with my cat happily snoozing in my lap like the glorious queen she is. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.